One of the things that I have to do as part of my current diet and exercise routine is make sure that I get a ton of fluid in a day. I've stopped referring to it as water in a day because, yes, I would prefer for as much of it as possible to be water. But if I were to try to drink just water, at least at this point in my sort of fitness journey, I know I would fail because there's nothing appetizing or appealing about water to me. And I get that that's part of the problem, right? But for now, I just want to make sure that I'm getting liquids and fluid into my system. And so if you look it up, right, pretty much anything that you drink, even if it's something like coffee, which is technically a diuretic, it's a mild diuretic, most of the fluid in coffee, so if you drink a large coffee that's something like 24 ounces of fluid, if you drink that, that's probably like the equivalent of 23 or 22 ounces of water. Not much of that is anything but water. And your body is going to treat it as such once it processes it as far as hydration goes. And so really you can include, diet soda or coffee or, sugar-free, like if you drink Crystal Light like I do, all of that essentially counts towards your daily water in this roughly the equivalent of the volume that it is. So if it's 24 ounces of Crystal Light, it's pretty much 24 ounces of water. Maybe it's 23.7 ounces of water, but you can count it as the same amount. And so I need to consume fluid, liquid, however you want to think of it, water. I need to consume at least 1 gallon a day because I'm trying to flush as much of the negative content of my body out as possible. I'm taking supplements like creatine and pre-workout and a multivitamin that you don't want to have negative buildups in your system. You don't want to cause negative buildups in your system, in your liver, in your kidneys. And so having a constant flush going through your body is healthy. Now, you wouldn't want to do this without replacing electrolytes because that can actually cause it's not demineralization, but you can basically cause your body to start to go into a state where it's cramping, where you're having actual health issues because you've flushed all of the electrolytes out of your body by constantly drinking pure water. You do want to be taking in plenty of sodium, potassium, magnesium, zinc, iron, like there are things that you need. And my multivitamin does that for me as well as my diet. But still, to make sure that there isn't a heavy impact on my body's filtration system, you need to give it plenty of clean liquid or fluid to flush it out. And so 1 gallon is kind of the standard that I've seen most online. If you're a much smaller person, you might not need 1 gallon. But if you're an average sized man or woman, 1 gallon is probably somewhere around the sweet spot. There is a calculation that you can do online. I forget the name of the gentleman he's a content creator and a PhD in nutrition, and he has some really complex calculation that he gave on Huberman podcast one time on how to take your body weight and then calculate your lean body mass and then use that to calculate with your like normal workload and the amount of caffeine that you're getting in the day, and use that to calculate exactly how much water you need over the course of the day and like when you should stop drinking in the day to make sure that you're not having to urinate throughout the night, all that stuff. But the sort of like loosey-goosey way of doing it is just 1 gallon of water. If you're huge, it's maybe 1.5 gallons. If you're really tiny, it's maybe 1/2 gallon to 3/4 of a gallon. And so I've been shooting for at least 1 gallon. I figure that's a good standard to go by. For me, like I said, just water, I'm not gonna make it. I have to do something like sugar-free Crystal Light, which other than the aspartame sweetener and some probably like citric acid, there really isn't much else in there. And I'm not one to poo-poo artificial sweeteners. I don't think there's anything majorly dangerous about them. I think a lot of the risks that people think exist come from just bad studies that were done a long time ago where the data was essentially manipulated or the study was designed in such a way to create just absolutely unrealistic results. I think there was one where they gave the same aspartame. I mean, all aspartame is essentially the same chemically, but they used aspartame like that is used in Diet Coke. And they fed it to lab rats, and then after the study they said, well, the lab rats all developed cancerous tumors. But they gave the lab rats, on a body size ratio, the equivalent of something like 6 2-liters of Diet Coke a day for 60 days to cause them to develop these medical issues, these health issues. And so that's just not realistic. That's not the same as somebody who drinks like 3 or 4 cans of Diet Coke a day. It's nowhere near the same. It may even have been more than that. I can't remember, but it was an absurd amount. So anyways, I think there's nothing wrong with most artificial sweeteners when used in a normal way. Other than I've heard they can cause some bloating, they can cause some additional water retention. Not something I'm majorly worried about right now. Having Crystal Light, sugar-free Crystal Light in my water helps me drink as much as possible. And what I use for a sort of a container, my water bottle, is this guy right here. I just kind of wanted to throw this out there. If anybody's looking for a really good all metal water bottle, the top is plastic, but if you use a metal straw, the liquid isn't ever really interacting or coming into contact with the top. This is the Iron Infidel bottle. It's a 64-ounce bottle, so it's a half gallon. It comes in a few different colors. It actually comes with this really nice sort of like heavy cloth or canvas sleeve that goes around it that has a few pockets, so you can put like your phone, attach your keys to it, put your wallet in it when you go to the gym, and then it's got a nice like paracord braided handle, so you can just carry this around from like bench to bench or machine to machine. I like this because it's big enough that if I'm doing a superset, I can leave it next to the machine that I'm running away from to get to the next machine, and it's obvious that somebody is using it. It's like leaving a hoodie on the bench. People know somebody's still there. And I try to be as polite and, you know, I try not to take up too many machines at once, and I try to hustle back and forth when I'm doing a superset, because obviously that takes up 2 machines. That's not necessarily the nicest thing to do when there's a lot of people in the gym, but I also go to the gym when there aren't a lot of people there to make it easier to do things like a superset. I took the nice canvas sleeve off of this, and it is really nice. I think most people would probably prefer to use it, but I wanted to cover this with Christian theology stickers. So I don't know if you can see all of those. Feel free to pause and read them, but there's a bunch of different ones that I like. But yeah, so I use this every day, and like I said, I use it with a straw because I try to avoid plastics. I'm very aware of the impact that plastics have had on our society, our sort of last few generations, in particular men, and how it's impacted their fertility and all kinds of stuff, just general testosterone in the in the male populace. It's not good. Believe me or not, it's fine. But in my opinion, from what I've read, the research that I've read, the books that I've read, it's not good. Feel free to read Countdown by Dr. Swan, I think it is. But anyways, so I use that metal straw because 2 reasons. 1, it gets me around having to come into contact with the plastic. And 2, because it is a straw, it slows down my drinking patterns. I'm a bit of a guzzler when it comes to drinking. I'll just like lift the bottle up and just chug as much as I can because for whatever reason, that's my way that I like to drink. It feels like I'm getting a bunch of fluid in. It feels like, you know, I'm doing a good job and it doesn't hurt my throat or anything like that. And so rather than drink consistently throughout the day, I'll kind of just like remember, oh, I haven't drank water in a while, and I'll pick it up and chug as much as I can. Your body doesn't really absorb water well when you do it that way. It can also cause like indigestion, and it's not great. It's not the best way to do it. And so to slow down the way that I drink and to get less air in my body when I drink that way, which you do get a bunch of air in your body, you'll end up getting gas and having to burp. Using a straw helps prevent that. It is kind of a wide straw. It's wider than like a fast food straw, but it slows down my drinking quite a bit, and it allows me to sip more consistently throughout the day. And so I wake up in the morning, I have my breakfast, I fill the water bottle up with a fresh, you know, thing of Crystal Light. I try to get all of that emptied by noon, maybe 1 o'clock. I have my lunch, I fill it up again, and then I try to finish all of that around the time my kids go to bed, which is like 8:30 at night. And so yeah, that's how I get my water in. If I'm at the gym, I'll probably chug a bunch, not chug, but I'll probably drink a bunch more at the gym. So that's what gets me up to 1.5 gallons some days, because sometimes I'll go through like a 30 or 40 minute workout and I'll empty one of those in the process and then get home and fill it up and do another one before noon and another one before bedtime. So yeah, but that's what I use to drink. That's why I drink the way that I drink. That's all the information that I have on hydration right now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If there's anything else that you want to know about what I'm doing on this diet, or like where I got this bottle or anything, I think it's just ironinfidel.com. They have a bunch of different sizes and stuff, but the biggest one they have is the half gallon. They have it in a bunch of different colors. They all come with that nice sleeve. Yeah. But anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, like or dislike, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see you in the next one.